Alabama is still the king. Doesn't matter who's in charge of the program, whether it's Bear Bryant, Nick Saban, Kalen DeBoer, Gene Stallings, you name it, Alabama is still the top dog in the sport. And I know that there was a moment there in the 22 season, and it was famous, famous. David Pollock telling Nick Saban that the Dogs are the top team, top program in the sport. That is not the case. Alabama remains at the top of college football. And how about the performance from Kalen DeBoer? His first opportunity at Alabama to play against a ranked foe, his first opportunity to have his team prepared to play against top-level competition. And boy, did they come out on fire. 28-0 there in the first quarter. They turned over Carson Beck. This was a defense that had not brought pressure pretty much all season long. We told you on Thursday's show they had called 4 blitzes in 3 games. That was the fewest blitzes called in the country. Well, what did they do on the first really big third down of the game? All-out pressure, force Carson Beck to try to throw a screen. They don't get it communicated. Interception. It was really, really impressive, too, to see the atmosphere that was created in Bryant-Denny, because that was as hostile of an environment. And look, I've been to a lot of games in Bryant-Denny. I have been to a bunch as a player, but now here in this role, been to a bunch as a broadcaster as well. That was as hostile of an environment I have ever seen in Bryant-Denny. The energy level in the building was enormous, and Bama responded beautifully to that. And I think that's what you have to do. When you get one of the great teams in the sport in Georgia into your building, you have to jump on them, and you have to jump on them early. Now, what I would encourage them moving forward, maintain that level of aggression on both sides of the ball. Bama kind of relaxed a little bit and lost a little bit of rhythm offensively. And this is something now that is something probably worth noting, probably worth watching. Look, Kalen DeBoer, I think he's incredible. There's a certain, and Colin Cowherd said this on our show a few weeks ago. He said there's something kind of magical about how Kalen DeBoer has his team ready to play. And you look at how they formationed Georgia there in the early going, how they are trading tight ends, how they're using motion to outflank the defense, how they're using motion to identify man zone. For instance, second touchdown, pass to Jam Miller down the right sideline. Watch the motion. There's a linebacker that is out wide, covering the running back. He motions back in the backfield, so you know man coverage. And a second I see man coverage, I know I want to work my running backs and or my tight ends in a favorable matchup. Second you have man coverage, if I have a back on a route, boom, I'm going to him. That's exactly where Jalen Milroe went. And that's exactly what transpired in their big plays created in the passing game. Continue to be overwhelmingly impressed with Ryan Williams. 6 for 177 in the touchdown. Williams is the first Alabama player with a receiving touchdown in 4 straight games since Devontae Smith back in 2020. He, of course, went on to win the Heisman Trophy. And the fact that Ryan Williams, I'm sure this is the first time you've heard this, the fact that he's 17 years old is pretty remarkable, but it's just his body control. It's not like he's physically mature. Like we've seen Alabama play freshmen in the past at wide receiver, whether it was Amari Cooper, Julio Jones, I'm sure there were several others. But those guys had a physical maturity that was just amazing, right? He doesn't look overwhelmingly impressive, physically. But you watch him play, the body control, the flexibility, tracking the ball in the air, timing his jumps, route running. He's just incredible. So regardless of who the coach is, Alabama's in great shape. They're still the king of college football. And Kalen DeBoer, I do think there's one area of improvement, because why wouldn't there be? Hey, you win the game, feel great about it. Just keep the gas pedal pressed. That would be the only thing. Similar to how Kalen DeBoer's team jumped on Texas in the semifinal last year when he was at Washington. Jumped on them, had Texas left for dead, and then boom, Texas gets a little momentum after halftime, and all of a sudden it's coming down to the final play when it really doesn't need to, or doesn't feel like it needs to. So keeping the gas pedal pressed would be the one area where you'd like to grow, but man, you got to feel good You got to feel good if you are a fan of the Crimson Tide, knowing who your head coach is and how ready he had his team to play in the biggest environment he's experienced in Tuscaloosa so far.